In today's video, we're going to take a look at some top games that are upcoming in 2021. So the first one on the list is a game called Deathloop. The basic premise of the game is you're an assassin out to hunt down 8 targets on this island, except you're stuck in a time loop and you must take down all 8 targets within a set amount of time. So going into the game, you're actually pretty powerful as is, and the game is actually created by the developers from Dishonored, so you can tell from the gameplay it's honestly excellent and very stylish, and it comes with a lot of those Dishonored elements of those series of 2 games that these developers have made before. But the uniqueness of this game is that basically taking down one of the 8 targets is not enough. You must figure out inventive and creative ways to take down multiple targets at once, even though they're located in different areas of the map. So you have to do different things to make sure they arrive at the same location. This is because if you take down the targets one by one at a time, you won't make it in time. You cannot destroy all 8 targets within the time limit if you attack them separately. So you must approach the game in different ways, try to blend the story or bend the rules of the island to your favor so you can get multiple targets at a similar location so you can take all of them down at once. That's why the game is kind of stuck in a time loop, and the game itself is called a death loop, because you're going to be killing them more than once and in different ways so that you can figure out the most efficient way to take down all 8 targets within the time limit. So that in and of itself already sounds amazing, but Deathloop takes it to another level. Within the game, there will also be, so in your island, in your game, there will also be matchmaking versus another human player whose sole job is to only kill you. So not only are you trying to figure out how to take down all 8 targets efficiently, you're also being hunted by another human target who only has to kill you to win the game and for you to lose it. So that's crazy. Now, number 2 is the game Outriders. And to simply put it, this game is pretty much like Mass Effect, Destiny, Anthem, and Diablo all put together. The game itself is a first-person shooter located in space, and it's kind of like a linear quest line where you're going from one hub to the other to do missions and to collect resources. But the gameplay itself is very, very similar from the Mass Effect trilogy, as you can see. So your player is pretty much loaded with a gun, but you also have these special unique abilities, 3 of them, that's kind of like force powers, and combined together this pretty much plays out just like Mass Effect, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. For those of you who remember the Mass Effect trilogy, the gameplay is incredibly fun, but this game is also done with online matchmaking. You can play, it's meant to be played between 1 to 3 players. The game itself though, even though it's kind of like a linear hub questline where you're taking this special truck with you and you go from one hub to the next to finish the missions or gather resources you need, the RPG element of this game is very heavy. So there's actually a lot of dialogue, story building, character building, and also gear leveling up. There's plenty of those elements involved in this game. So it's a unique formula of elements from other games that everyone has really enjoyed, but it's combined together meant to all work together at once. Now the developers working on this is Square Enix, so they do have a long time experience of online games from Final Fantasy, and if this is actually done correctly, I believe the gameplay versus the AI, as you can already see from this gameplay demo, is pretty exciting if you're into this kind of thing where you can use special powers and guns all at once. And if it's done correctly and the RPG elements is done well too, combined with online matchmaking where missions are meant to be done by 1 to 3 players, which is very similar to Anthem. Now that game was a disaster, but the basic idea, it was good. The execution was bad. So if Outriders can nail that execution alongside with gameplay that is very, very similar to the Mass Effect trilogy, I think this game actually has potential to be very exciting. And it's going to be on next gen too, so it will be one of those first next gen shooters that is online heavy. I hope this game works out because I am a big fan of that Mass Effect fighting style, and if this proves to be consistent and the content updates are good and the online matchmaking is solid. I think this will be an excellent game, so keep your eyes out for the game Outriders, that also coming out in Q2 2021. Now, number 3, we got Persona Strikers, which is a Japanese developer-made game. And for those of you who know about the series, or don't know about it, Persona, the original game, came out at 2016 in North America, and that was an award-winning game. So that was a Game of the Year type of title. And the Japanese companies who made Persona, Atlus, they've been building on that series ever since, and Persona Striker is just another line of games coming out of that series. So it's an award-winning pretty much gameplay and fundamentals, and the world, those are all the same, but the gameplay itself is largely different. So you can see from the gameplay, this is very similar to Dynasty Warriors type of fighting, but at the same time you also have 3 teammates working with you. So this is kind of like, gameplay wise, this is really a mesh between Dynasty Warriors and Dragon Age. So that alone, I think gameplay is going to be very exciting. And Persona from Japan is known to be a pretty difficult game with unique elements. So the basic game itself is you're traveling as a group of, a team of phantom thieves that takes down, other people's desires in these prisons they create. So within the prisons, it's where you do most of the fighting. And you are supposed to defeat the prison by going from level to level, defeat the enemies. And each prison is actually very developed, and each prison is unique, and they're also very complicated. So it's kind of like a maze and a puzzle with plenty of fights inside. And as you can see, the fighting is half real-time, half menu selection. So this is kind of like Final Fantasy 13 style, where you can choose to fight the game without pausing it at all, but you could just pause for a little bit to select the elements or the magic or the persona skills you want to use to, make your fighting more efficient. But there are a lot of enemies, and as you can see, the environment is also interactive within the fights. There's no stopping in the fighting, so it's continuous alongside your 4 or 3 teammates and a team of 4. So if this is the kind of game you're into, and if you're a fan of the Persona series, this is something you definitely have to get. I love Persona myself, so this is something I am really looking forward to. And for those of you who have not been introduced to the Persona series, Persona Strikers will be a good place to start, and you can always try out this game and then backtrack to go back to Persona 5, which is from 2016, but it holds up very well against the test of time because this game is so stylistic and it's so story and gameplay driven. Even if it's a game that's 4 years old, it's fine. So play Persona Strikers. If you enjoy it, you can also try out Persona 5, which is an award-winning game. Now, number 4 on the list is Mass Effect 1 to 3. Yes, there's gonna be a remake, which they're calling the Legendary Edition, that is coming out in 2021, and it's going to be the entire trilogy. So that's Mass Effect 1 to 3. So for those of you, well, like myself, who have already played the original trilogy, obviously this is something you also got to try out in PS4, PS5, and next gen and all of that. And for those of you who are younger and haven't really played the series, you got to. This game shaped the ways a lot of RPGs are today, and it is a legendary trilogy. So if you can replay it again, go for it, absolutely. And if you haven't, this is the chance to do it. So spring 2021, keep your eye out for that. And lastly for today, number 5, we got Monster Hunter Rise, which is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. Now, the Monster Hunter series previously has been on PlayStation and all that, but this time coming around, it is going to become an exclusive title for the Switch. So if you have a Switch yourself, this is something you definitely got to pick up, because the Monster Hunter series also has been award-winning for many years. And the previous game that I played, Monster Hunter 2, on PlayStation, that was absolutely an insane experience. So if you know about the game, you're obviously going to pick this up. Now, if you don't know about it, the game is pretty much kind of like World of Warcraft kind of world style, but not online at all. You're playing as a single player and you're hunting down monsters, you're crafting your own gear, you're using different weapons. The game itself can be very addictive because the maps are done very excellently, and the hunting element of the game, where you're taking out these special monsters within each unique map, is extremely rewarding, and is also very challenging at the same time. This game is something that you gotta try it because the formula is so unique to itself. It's kind of hard to compare against other games, but it is an excellent formula, and it has been around for years in Japan, and obviously it made its way to North America recently, and the reception it got was excellent. The critical acclaim was also very high. So I am a little bit disappointed that it has become an exclusive title on Switch, because as you can see, even though this is, you know, still in development, the graphics are not great. I just wish this was on PlayStation and Xbox and such. But this game will be out in 2021, so if you got a Switch, this is something you definitely should try out yourself. And if you're a fan of Monster Hunter like me, you probably have to pick up a Switch just for this. That's how good this game is. Alright, so these are the top games that I covered for today, just 5 of them in 2021. If you wanted to see more content this way, just add a comment in the comment section, and I can cover more games down the line. As always, thanks for coming by, and I speak to you guys again very soon.